So Salesforce is basically world's #1 CRM. Okay, Salesforce is world's #1 CRM customer relationship management tool. Okay, now immediate next question that comes into mind. Okay, world's #1 CRM, that we understand, but what is a CRM then? CRM is a set of tools, technologies, procedures to manage, improve, or facilitate sales support and related interactions with customers. Okay, so now if there is a business and then it has got thousands of customers, there's a lot of interaction which happens with the customer, right? Before the customer actually purchased your product and after the customer purchased your product. You understand that, right? It's not just, before the customer purchased the product, you'll have to interact. Uh, a lot of people feel that, okay, fine, CRM is only sales related. No, that's wrong. CRM is way beyond sales. It's a lot more related to analytics, understanding customer buying behavior, understanding, your expected revenues, your revenue forecast, pipelines. Okay, and not just that, customer service. Once a customer has purchased the product, now the customer wants some help from you on certain things. That also needs to be maintained somewhere, right? So overall, long story short, there's a lot of interaction that has to happen with the customer for any business. Okay, any business that has customers basically needs to have interactions with the customer, and they need to have information related to those interactions stored somewhere to keep their process smooth, right? For example, there's a customer, you are selling say a laptop, and you are giving 1-year warranty on the laptop. Now the customer came back to you asking for some service. Okay, and you said that the warranty is for 1 year. Now if you don't know which date you sold the laptop, would you be able to serve the customer in the right way? No, right? So a lot of that information needs to be stored. It can be related to sales, can be related to marketing, can be related to analytics, can be related to customer support. Okay, now where do you put in or store all this information? That is the next question. Okay, you have a lot of data. Now where do you store all this data? Okay, now to store all this data, there are two options which are available to you if you are running a business. Okay, try and understand it from that perspective. If you are running a business, you want a CRM other than all of, there will be 100 other things that you need for a CRM. You need a software, you need a good user interface and all that stuff. Let's not worry about that right now. I'm just talking about one thing, which is where do I store all that data? Right, so if I tell you right now that go and store this name, phone numbers and email IDs of these 1,000 people, what do you ask me this question, where do you want me to put that? I'll say, okay, put it in an Excel file. Now where do you want me to store the Excel file? That is the question, right? So the question is where the data needs to be stored. Now why I'm asking this question or why this is important, because a lot depends on where the data is stored. Okay, but because it's company's data, you cannot just put it in an Excel sheet and put it in your system. How will others access that, right? So ideally this data has to be on a server which is accessible to multiple people. Common server which can be accessed by multiple people, right? Correct, that is the concept. Now as a company, I have two options. Either I build my own server, I set up my own server, or I go and get some server space on rental, on a rental basis. Got it? So these are the two options which are available to me. Okay, the one where you go and set up your own server, that is called on-premise. The one where you are taking some server space from a vendor on rental, that is called on-cloud approach. Okay, so that is the thing. I'll give you another example for you guys to understand. Now you have got a few documents that you want to store. You can store those documents in your local hard disk, or you can store those documents in a Google Drive, right? Google Drive is on cloud. Local hard disk is your on-premise. This is a simple example. In a business scenario, this can be, on-premise can be a server which is set up within the company, which can be accessed by everyone. And on cloud is something again, which is available on the cloud, primarily meaning it is available through internet, which means anyone from anywhere can access it. Got it? So that is the thing. So yeah. Now let's talk about this on-premise and on-cloud server and understand, which one is used in Salesforce. Okay. So on-premise CRM is one which has got an on-premise server basically. So when I say on-premise CRM, it is basically referring to a CRM which maintains a database in the on-premise server. This on-premise server can be something like this, centralized server connected to multiple computers on the same location. Okay. Now, this is a local server. There's a cost involved in the installation. Of course, when you have to, set up the server, you'll have to, hire people who can set it up. You'll have to have, give some space for doing that, infrastructure involved in that and all. There is a lot of cost involved, straight away. You have to, put in some good amount of money to set it up. This will take time, of course. Setting up server is not something which which will happen all, in a day or two. It will take time. As I said, you need people, you need to identify space, you need to build that infrastructure. May take, couple of months or maybe more. Maintenance involved. So since it is your own server, you have, built it. Now just building the server will not help. You have to maintain it. You need people who can maintain it. Okay. You need dedicated team to maintain the server and all. You need to think of backup. Since it's a server, there is a database, there is a possibility that the server may, crash any point of time. Who knows? So you have to, think of a process of, backing up the data on a regular basis. You have to think of what happens if there is a disaster. You have set up a server in a certain office, there is an earthquake in that particular area. Now what do you do next day? You still have to run your business, right? So that's called a disaster. There is a fire, there's an earthquake, the server goes. Now, what is the plan? How do I do business next day? Okay, so that's basically disaster plans and all. So if you look at it, on-premise CRM, if you are using on-premise server, these are a few, I would say, challenges that you may have. Okay, now think about on-cloud. So on-cloud is something which is on the cloud, which means it's something which is accessible through internet. In simple words, there can be more technical descriptions about it, but to make it simple for you to understand, let's say on-cloud is something, it's a server which is accessible through internet, like your Google Drive. So biggest advantage, you can access it from anywhere and you can access it from any device, which is very important these days, no? So nowadays, it's not that everyone is sitting in front of a computer or a laptop. There are people who are accessing the CRM from a mobile device. There are people who are accessing it from an iPad, right? So on cloud certainly, has its own advantages. So it's location independent. So it's not that you have to be in a certain city or you have to be in a certain office. You can be sitting, you can be having your team in multiple countries accessing the same server. For example, your Google Drive. So you don't have to depend on your laptop. You don't have to depend on a certain device or a certain location. You can access it from anywhere. Same way. So cloud-based CRM, this is the advantage. It's location independent, quick. Setting it up, you don't need to do anything. All that you have to do is you just have to uh, pay that amount, and you have to get the access. How much time does it take for you to create a Gmail? Almost similar time will be taken for you to create a cloud-based CRM account. No installation, so you don't have to worry about installation and all that stuff. It's just a cloud-based solution. You just have to go to a website, log into it, and you start working on it. Maintenance, you don't have to worry about the maintenance. The provider of the service is basically taking care of the maintenance. For example, if Salesforce is giving you the cloud-based CRM, they are worried because they are maintaining the database server. I don't have to hire people, database administrators, to manage the database and all. I just need people to manage my CRM. Got it? Now, where they're keeping backup of it, whether they're taking backup twice a day or they're taking the backup once a week, that is their thing. So we are just focused on our business and our CRM. Okay. Disaster recovery, again, there's something which is not your headache anymore. You don't have to worry about this because the service provider is taking care of it. Okay. So it's more like, when you, if it's your car, you have to, think of the maintenance of your car, right? There was service coming due and all these things, and, oil change, whatever. I mean, so, everything is something that you have to take care of, right? But when you take a plane, are you worried about, okay, fine, whether the maintenance was done on it yesterday or not, or who will do the maintenance tomorrow, who will do the cleaning and all? No. So that is the thing. Scalability, another, plus point of cloud-based CRM. Scalability, I would say, every business can actually, uh, grow eventually, right? Today there can be 5 people, tomorrow there will be 10, then there will be 20. Okay. Now in this kind of a model, if you are setting up your server, uh, for you to scale up things quickly will be a challenge. Okay, again, every time you have to scale, again you have to go through that entire exercise of, uh, think of, additional space and all that stuff, do all that thing one more time. But with a cloud-based CRM, since it's more like a rental based, you just have to pay additional amount and you have to, get the additional licenses. That's it. Flexibility, yes, flexibility, I would say, in terms of the features, functionalities that you need, you always have that, flexibility. You can scale up, you can scale down, you can increase the features that you need, you can decrease the features that you need. That way, you kind of control your spent on the licenses also, right? So now, so there are these two different types of CRMs which are available in the market. One is on-premise, one is cloud-based CRM. So on-premise CRM basically gives you the software and they tell you that, okay, fine, you set up your server and use my software on top of that. Okay. Uh, if I have to give you some example to relate to, I can say, Microsoft Office. So when you're using Microsoft Office, what do you get? You get a software, but server space, it get, whatever files you create, that gets stored in your local system, right? Cloud-based CRM is where they give you the software, they give you the server space also, Google Drive, right? You create your files there, you store the files in the Google Drive, same Google Drive, right? So now you're not worried about the software, you're not even worried about the storage space. So that is the thing. So there are a few, CRM companies which basically give you CRM and they let you, set up your own server space. Then we have got cloud-based CRM. There are a few companies which say that, okay, fine, the software will be given by us, infrastructure, server space, that will also be taken care of by us. Salesforce is a cloud-based CRM basically. Okay, and the advantages of the cloud-based CRM we have already just spoken about. Okay, now being a cloud-based CRM also makes Salesforce this popular. Okay, now since we are talking about admin training, since we are actually getting into the Salesforce admin training, what I want you to understand. So by now we are clear that, okay, fine, Salesforce is a cloud-based CRM. It is very popular, world's #1 CRM and all. The next thing that I want you all to understand is what will be ideally the role of an administrator. Okay, let's have a quick look at a few pointers that what is expected out of an administrator, and this will help us set up the context of that. What is that we are going to learn in the admin training. Okay. Some of us may be feeling that, okay, fine, hey, I want to become a developer. Yes, you may become a developer, but it is usually expected out of a developer to be able to take up admin roles at any point of time and do it. I mean, so of course, if you are uh, a developer, they would usually expect you to know, whatever an administrator can do, and sometimes, do some of those things also. Okay, so that is it. So speaking about role of a Salesforce administrator, this is again just for you to understand that, what is the kind of day-to-day activities they do. So a Salesforce administrator usually provides user support. Users are the end users, like your sales team, customer support team. These are the end users. Okay, and these are not technical people. So sales team, salespeople are not technical guys, right? So they may need support in several activities. So sometimes, those are regular activities. For example, they do not know how to load data properly, how to do bulk loads of the data. They do not know how to generate reports. As an administrator, you may be supporting in some of those activities, or there can be ad hoc requests, support requests from the end users where you need to support in terms of, okay, fine, uh, troubleshoot some of their challenges. They're not able to see something the way they want. They're not able to sort the data the way they want. So a Salesforce administrator is expected to provide the user support. Another important thing that a Salesforce administrator would do is user management. User management is another important part. User management is managing all the users within the organization, controlling their permissions, access, licenses. Someone who has left the firm or not working on certain areas, make sure that those licenses are freed up. We do have enough licenses available. If there are more users coming in, raise a request for additional license procurement and all that stuff. So to some extent that thing. Controlling access and permissions of the users, that is again something which may come slightly under the user management itself. So everyone in the company definitely will not have the same level of access or permissions, right? So system administrators or the Salesforce administrators are expected to control this as well. Data management, yes. Anything related to data, which includes loading data, cleaning some of the data, archiving data, deleting some unwanted data that has got into the system, updating data time to time with some information maybe. So all this may come under your data management part of it, and your Salesforce administrators are expected to work on those things as well. Creating reports, yes. As I said, usually you do not expect your sales reps or customer support executives to understand how to create reports and different types of reports, or provide different report categories, or control the sharing of the reports and all. So for that reason, this reporting is also something which falls under the roles and responsibilities of a Salesforce administrator. Building dashboards, okay, if there are people in the company who need to have a quick look at some of the dashboards to understand how the business is doing, or some other statistics. Building dashboard again is a role of a Salesforce administrator. Business process automation, this can also be sometimes role of an administrator, though I would say that this is mostly done by a developer. But again, some of the roles and responsibilities are overlapping. So when you are in a job, when you are actually in a company, usually see, it's easy for us to talk about these things in the training session. Sometimes I get this question. Some people come to me and they ask me, hey, this is the role of an administrator or a developer, and we are sitting in a classroom right now. So here to comment on certain things, that okay fine, this more falls as a role of an administrator or as a developer's role, or this will be this particular topic refers to admin certification content and all, that is fine. But in a company, that's not how you work. There it is not like someone says that, hey, can you just put this validation? You say, no, I am an administrator, this is not my role, this is developer's role. So it does not work that way. Got that? So business process automation, though it seems to be more of a developer's role, but to some extent administrators can be doing this as well. But that will only be declarative. Declarative basically refers to drag and drop options. So when an administrator is doing it, ideally it is expected that administrator will definitely not be writing code and doing those things. But some declarative options are also available within Salesforce, drag and drop options which are available within Salesforce. So that business process automation with those drag and drop options, sometimes administrators are also expected to do. Sometimes, not always. Okay, so that is the thing. All right. Now, and this also kind of is in line or in sync with the admin certification course content that they have and stuff like that. Okay, so that is the thing. Now that we understand that, okay fine, this is what overall is expected out of our Salesforce administrators. Now we understand the role of a Salesforce administrator. Now it will make more sense for us to have a quick look at the roadmap that I was trying to share earlier. Okay, so this is the roadmap. So this is going to be a 4 weeks program for admin, and then next 4 weeks we will be talking about developers. So it's going to be over a next 8 or 9 weeks that we'll be doing this entire training. So the 4 weeks roadmap for admin training, let's quickly have a look at, week by week, what is that we are going to do. Okay, and there's a tentative plan, but yes, uh, it would give us a clear picture of, how we are going to progress, week on week. And before I get into this, I would say that, we all need to have a plan or a roadmap for ourselves. Everyone's roadmap can be different. Training roadmap is common, of course, but how you plan to get into Salesforce, each one of you will need to have your own roadmap post that also. Okay, it's very important for you to plan things, and till the time you do not have a proper plan, proper roadmap, that okay, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, after that, week 9, week 10, what is that I'm going to do, till the time you guys don't have that, um, you will not be doing justice to all the effort that you guys are putting into it. Okay, I'll come to these things, and I'll talk a little more about these things in a few days, but yes, that is there. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at how are we going to proceed in our admin training week wise. So week 1 we will speak about introduction to Salesforce, introduction to Sales Cloud. We'll talk about building custom apps, and we'll talk about fields and relationships. So first week we are primarily going to focus on introduction part of it, understanding. So, and we'll also learn how do we build our own apps. Salesforce gives you the option to build your own apps. We'll understand uh, app building, the different components of the app in details. That's what we're going to do in week 1. Week 2 is basically about user management. In user management, we are going to talk about creating users, freezing users, deactivating users, controlling the permissions of the users, and all that stuff. That's what is security related stuff. Who should have access to what all things and all. So that's what we will be discussing in the user management part. And other thing that we will be doing is data management in week 2. Okay, dealing with bulk data and all that stuff. Week 3, we will get into business logics, process automations, approvals, data validation. So I was talking about this right now, that sometimes as an administrator, you are expected to do some sort of declarative development or some business processes and all. So this is something which we will start discussing in week 3. Week 3, we will completely focus on the business logic, process automation stuff. Okay. And then week 4. Week 4 is where we talk about reports, dashboards, UI customization, app exchange. So we learn how to build reports and dashboards. We learn how to customize UIs. Some other smaller concepts that we need to learn. We'll learn about app exchange, which is the marketplace for Salesforce related apps. So that is something which we'll be doing in week 4. So this is the overall plan, and of course each week you will have some activity or assignment to do, which you guys will be doing over the weekends, of course related to uh, the topics that we cover during that particular week. Okay, so this is our overall plan. Now let's get a little more into our discussion related to Salesforce that we were doing. So we just spoke about Salesforce, and we understood that Salesforce is an on cloud or a cloud-based CRM, very popular and all that stuff. That is fine. Okay, now the next immediate important thing that we need to understand is the Salesforce editions. Okay, so any application software that you would see usually comes in different I would say editions or packages. So everyone does not have the same requirement. For example, if I'm running a 5 people company, my CRM requirement will not be same as Coca-Cola's Salesforce CRM requirement. They may have different business lines, and they may have a lot of customers. They may have multiple systems to integrate with and all. For me, it may be very simple. For me, it may be just storing the leads and calling the leads. That's it. Got it? So because every company is not same, the requirements are also not same. So sales, of course, everyone does not need all the features. Okay. So what Salesforce does is they give you different editions based on your requirement. You choose the edition that you want. Of course, the pricing is different for different editions. The ones which with lesser features and functionalities are priced lesser, and the ones with more features and functionality are priced more. That's it. Okay, so let's have a quick look at it. I would want you guys to go back and explore this a little more, but I'm just going to quickly uh, touch upon these points, and then we will move on to the edition that we are going to use here. So there's this essential edition, which is the most basic edition available in Salesforce. This is designed for small businesses that want to get started with a CRM system quickly. So essential edition is very simple one, and it is primarily meant for small businesses. It will help you, get started very quickly. There's another one. The next one is professional edition. Uh, this is designed for businesses requiring full-featured CRM functionality. It includes some straightforward and easy to use customization integration. So some basic customization is included in this. Okay. And then it has got some tools to facilitate any small to mid-size deployment. So small to mid-size deployments can be done in professional edition also. Then comes the enterprise edition. Now this enterprise edition is almost a full-featured CRM. Okay. So meets the needs of large and complex businesses, gives advanced customization and admin tools in addition to all functionality available in professional edition. So enterprise edition is the one which is the most popular one. Any company which wants to do customization on their CRM properly needs at least an enterprise edition. So one thing that I can assure you at this point of time right now, that when you guys are working, you will not usually work on essential or professional edition, because these are usually used by very small companies who do not have team of administrators or developers, because there is very little scope for customization and all. So they do not need a team. So usually we will be working at least on an enterprise edition, because that level of customization comes only in an enterprise edition. Okay, that's for our understanding. Then the next one, unlimited edition. Unlimited edition is the most premium one, the top variant that we call now. So that is what it is. Practically speaking, unlimited edition has got almost all the features and functionalities of enterprise edition, and enterprise edition also has got all those features and functionalities. Unlimited edition usually has got a few more additional things, not technically, but otherwise. For example, a premier support, full mobile access, unlimited custom apps. Okay, so technically whatever you can do in an unlimited edition, you can do all those things in enterprise edition also. Okay, but unlimited edition has got a few other things. The support provided by salesforce.com is a little more and all that stuff. So those things are there. Okay, so of course then unlimited edition is priced higher than enterprise edition. So of course enterprise edition is the most popular one. Most of the times you guys will come across this. Okay, I don't think, based on my experience, what I have seen, I don't think there are a lot of companies which buy licenses for unlimited edition. Salesforce usually, sometimes to maintain good relationship with certain customers, upgrades enterprise edition. For example, there's a company which buys 200 enterprise edition license. Salesforce automatically upgrades them to unlimited edition at the same price. I mean, this is not something which is official, but sometimes this is what happens. Okay, so I don't see too much of a value add for the additional price paid on an unlimited edition. So that is there. So usually you guys will be working either on enterprise or unlimited edition. Okay. Now, other than these editions, there is one more edition which is called a developer edition. Okay. Now this developer edition is a free edition for developers and learners. So this developer edition is free of cost, and this is primarily meant for people like you who want to learn Salesforce. Okay. Or developers who just want to develop and they don't have an environment. Okay. So that's where a developer edition can help. Okay. Now, immediate question, because it's a free edition, immediate question that comes into mind is, okay, if it is free, will it have all the features for me to do the development? Yes. Feature wise, except a few things, almost all the features, functionalities that you have in an enterprise edition are available in a developer edition. So from a learning perspective, whatever you need, ideally you will have all those things in a developer edition also. Okay. I'm going to talk a little more about the developer edition, and I will tell you how to create a developer edition account. But I would also want to quickly show you there are a few editions which have been discontinued. Okay, so these editions were there earlier, but now these editions have been discontinued. Okay, the reason why I'm just giving you the names of these editions, because sometimes you may hear or you may see some client having one of these editions because these have been discontinued, which means uh, they're not selling new editions. For to any new customers, they're not selling these editions. But any company which had one of these editions, they continue to have these. Okay, so that is the thing. But again, this is I would say very low priority stuff. Just know this. Good FYI information. So there were a few editions which have been discontinued. Contact Manager edition, designed for small businesses. Group edition for small groups. Personal edition, this edition was there earlier. This was primarily meant for single users, freelancer sort of people. So only you can have one single user. Group edition and Contact Manager edition used to give you small groups. I think group edition had 15 people maximum allowed. Personal edition was just one single user. Okay, so mainly focused on freelancers and all those. Then performance edition, yeah, it used to be the top edition, even on top of your unlimited edition, but because of that pricing and all, it had a few additional features and all. But of course, because of the pricing, it did not become that popular, and then they discontinued it. Database.com, again, this has been discontinued, so they actually introduced this where database.com license used to give you the backend database for application that you could build on any other application, any other framework, any other language, and you could run that on any other platform or mobile device. Again, this also did not become that popular, so they discontinued it. Okay, this is just good to know information. Okay, now coming back to our developer edition. So of course, we do not have any of those editions. So what we are going to do, we are going to work with developer edition. Now, going back to this, you can actually go and create a trial of any of these editions. Okay, but that trial will be for 30 days. Okay, whereas your developer edition account does not expire, so that remains with you. So I'll talk a little more about the developer edition now. So create a, what I want you to do today is, after this session, I want all of you to, go ahead and create a developer account. There is one, important thing which I forgot to mention earlier. Let me, put it now. When we are discussing, I want you to do just two things. Focus on what is being discussed, listen to me carefully, and keep a notebook and a pen handy. Any quick pointers that you want to make a note of, you should be making. Notebook, not your laptop's notepad. Okay. Now, the reason why I talk about this, one, I do not want you to, open a different window and then try to do certain things which I'm showing here. That is going to be, a huge distraction for you, and you will miss on a lot of points. Okay, so that is there. But at the same time, you may need to make note of certain things. So, noting it down on a notebook, pen, paper, notebook, that is the best thing that you guys should be doing. Okay, so while I talk about this, how to create a developer account, I want you guys to do this after the session, not right now. Okay, so for creating this developer account, all that you have to do is you just have to go to developer.salesforce.com. Don't think too much about the link. Just go type developer.salesforce.com. You need to click on sign up button. You have to enter your name, email, role, company, country, postal code, and username. So company and all, you can write whatever dummy entries you can put, and you have to submit the form. Once you have submitted the form, you get a link to set your password in your email. You just check your email, set your password, that's it. So creating account, just like you create account for anything else. Okay, developer.salesforce.com, sign up button, top right corner. Let me quickly show this to you in the browser also for your understanding. developer.salesforce.com. Yeah, this is how it looks, developer.salesforce.com. Top right corner, sign up button. You just have to click on this and you have to enter the values. You can create your account. Yeah, just put in your first name, last name, and all these things. Okay. Your username has to be in the form of an email ID. So just keep that in mind. Possibly the email that you're putting here, the same email can go here. Okay. So that is the thing. Now, since I am on the browser, let me also show you something with respect to the editions that we were discussing. Yeah. So they keep on actually, changing their website a little. Okay. So if you look at this here, you will get a complete details of, all the editions and all pricing for each edition. Okay, this is on their website actually. So if you just go to salesforce.com and then if you go to products, you will find this. You have to scroll down a little and you will find this. Okay, the pricing and all, and if you want to read more details, you can basically do a comparison chart and all. Most of this will not make too much of sense to you right now because you do not know anything within Salesforce, but at a later point of time when you start understanding things better, you can always go download this comparison chart, understand what is there, what is not there. Okay. And I told you, for every edition you will have a 30-day trial, so you can click on any of these buttons and get a 30-day trial for any of these editions. Okay. All right, so going back to what we were discussing. So we were talking about, creating our own developer account. So I don't want you to again, let me reiterate, I don't want you to create your free trial because that's for 30 days and that's only specific to that particular edition. So you need to create developer account for this entire training. Okay. Now, to log in into your, developer account. So to create, you go to developer.salesforce.com. To log in into your account, you will go to login.salesforce.com. Okay, and then you will put in your username and password and you will log in. Okay, this is something which I would want everyone to do right after the session today. Now, developer edition often referred to as a DE org. DE means developer edition org. Okay, this is a fully featured development environment with limits on data and users. Okay, now good thing about developer edition, I just told you before I get into that point. Let me just reiterate what I said. Developer edition will not expire. So it's not a 30-day. You can use it for 6 months. You can use it for around 1 year. It will expire only if you keep the developer account inactive for 6 months. So if there is no activity in 6 months, that's theoretically, I mean, that's what the documentation of salesforce.com says. But I have seen that they usually give you more than 6 months. Even if your account is, inactive for more than 6 months, still sometimes they allow. Okay. But going by whatever the documents say, uh, if you keep your developer account inactive for 6 months, then it will expire, which is definitely not going to be the case for you guys since you guys will be using it on a regular basis. Okay, so that is the thing. Now, there are two things which we are just talking. When I say that it does not expire, second I say that it has almost all the features and functionalities which are available in an enterprise edition, right? So now if both these things are true, then don't you think a lot of companies will start using developer edition only? Why would companies go and buy a paid license? Because developer edition comes with a few limits. So that's what. So this developer, this is a fully featured development environment with limits on data and users. So there is a limit. So what are those limits? The limits are on the data, how much data you can store, and how many users you can have. Okay. So data storage, it allows you only 5 MB. So 5 MB, if I have to talk in terms of number of records, it will be ideally say close to 500, 600 records, maybe. Okay. So 5 MB data storage, file storage 20 MB, that is it in your developer edition. Now this seems to be very small, but yeah, if it is from a learning perspective, this is good enough. Okay. So 500 or 1000 records, if you are able to store uh, from a learning perspective, that should be good enough. Salesforce full licenses, number of users which are allowed, full license users, only 2 in developer edition. Okay, so these are the limitations. In addition to this, the other limitation of a developer account is you don't have a sandbox. Do we know what is a sandbox? Let me tell you. So sandbox is the development environment. Okay, for any company which is doing customization on their CRM, they cannot do customization. They cannot do any changes to the live CRM which is being used by all their um, you know end users. So all that customization and all that needs to be done on a duplicate environment, and once things are tested properly, then they need to be moved to the live production environment. Correct? So that duplicate environment where the development and testing will happen, that is called sandbox. In developer account, you don't have a sandbox because this is just for learning, no? So they don't give a sandbox. So data storage limit is there, file storage limit is there, number of licenses only 2, and no sandbox. Any of these is not going to impact your learning, so we will be using the developer account.